James Henry Bundy, Jim, was born in Monmouth, Illinois on January 11, 1943, to Roy and Virgie Ellen Bundy. Something I learned yesterday is that my beautiful nieces are named after their grandparents. And so began the life of the man that the people gathered here today were proud to call their husband, their father-in-law, their brother, their brother-in-law, their grandfather, their great-grandfather, and also their friend. Jim was the fourth child born in a family of 11 siblings. His brother Mike from Napa, California, drove here to visit Jim for the last time and is here with us today. Along with being brothers, they also became the best of friends. This team often through Jim's 70 years of life. Jim grew up around the cornfields of La Harpe, Illinois, and as a young man worked on various farms in the area, learning to operate the equipment needed to do the work. He told us about a farmer putting him in a truck and telling him to back it into the barn. After many failed attempts to back it in, the man returned to check on him and simply said, "Good work, you'll get it," which of course he did. However, being young and a boy and loving to be outdoors, he would rather go fishing in the local streams or play pool with his uncles Claude and Clyde, the twins, who knew all the pool shots. These lessons would come to be very beneficial in later years. At the age of 17, Jim asked his father to sign the necessary papers so that he could join the Marine Corps. As his departure date grew closer, he wondered what he had done. However, when he left the Harpe, there was another young man that was also going, which made it much easier for this young, adventurous teenager. Jim was to report to Camp Pendleton, California on January 26, 1960. After basic training, he was shipped out to Japan for the remainder of his 4 years in service. During this time, Jim would meet his longtime friend of 53 years, Jerry Doherty, who flew here today from Palm Desert, California, to bid farewell to his friend. Through all these years, they would always check in with each other to see what the other one was up to. When Jim's tour of duty ended in 1964, he hit land again in California. After working in California and Las Vegas, Jim would travel to Butte, Montana, where he would again meet up with his buddy Jerry. Not having the money to get back to La Harpe, Jerry talked him into working the underground mines in Butte. After living in Butte for 3 years, Jim would find himself in Dixon, Montana. My sister said that she first met Jim in the hospital at St. Ignatius, where he was a patient and she was there visiting our grandmother. Weeks later, they would again meet as their love for each other blossomed. They were married on November 15, 1969, after she finished her course at Modern Business College and he spent a year at the University of Montana. It would be 3 years before they started their family, but they had 2 great kids, Penny and Daleen, to go fishing and camping with them. Lee Ellen joined them in 1972, and Royale would follow in 1974. Jim loved to travel, fish, hunt, ski, and shoot pool. He loved to get his family from Illinois and California to visit so he could show them the sights in the Big Sky country. A great pastime for Jim and Patty was watching the Jazz play basketball and tuning into Grizzly. But his greatest pastime of all was spending time with his wife, children, and grandchildren. His heart was captured over and over again with the birth of each of them. He spoiled them immensely and loved them each even more. Each of the grandkids had said how much they looked at him as more of a father than a grandfather. Jim also loved a good joke. Here's an example we'll share with all of you. A A brother-in-law from Illinois called Jim and said he was secretly sending a sister-in-law a Christmas flower arrangement. And if she calls Jim and wants to know where it came from, don't tell her. Jim thought, a beautiful flower arrangement going to someone without a name on it. How intriguing. Jim thought there can't be that many flower shops in Metamora, so he placed a call and fortunately got the right one. Posing as his brother-in-law, he told the florist that his brother-in-law, Jim, and his sister-in-law had a little misunderstanding, so he wanted to help patch things up between them. So would she please write Jim's name on the card as the sender? The florist praised him for his generosity, and yes, she would do that. You know what happened, don't you? The sister-in-law called him and thanked him for the beautiful flower arrangement. Anxiously waiting to find out what was happening at the sister-in-law's house, the brother-in-law called the sister-in-law to see if she had received anything by delivery. Yes, she said, I received a beautiful Christmas arrangement from Jim. Needless to say, many expletives were thrown around for a while. In the 1970s, Jim would be diagnosed with Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, ALS. The devastating disease would start in Jim's right arm and shoulder. He was given 3 years to live as the doctor said he was 3 years along in the progression of the disease. There was no cure and it was fatal. We were heartbroken for the first time. Little did we know there would be so many more times to come. Jim would surpass the 3-year deadline only to meet with many reminders that this disease was in fact taking over his body. Jim would go through the following years always adjusting himself to the changes in his body. At first he could no longer use his right arm, then went the right leg, followed by the left leg and his left arm. Most recently his speech became affected and his breathing became more difficult. 2 years ago he was told he would never leave the hospital after a bout of pneumonia and would never be able to breathe on his own without a ventilator. The following day, the doctor removed his air to prove to his family, watching that he could not breathe on his own as they were persistent that he could. He asked Jim to take a breath, and he did. He asked him to do it again, and he did. The next day, they removed the ventilator and has not needed it since. He also left the hospital and enjoyed 2 more full years of life. ALS did not defeat Jim. It simply took his physical shock, as his spirit never ever wavered, and he consistently continued to fight. His sense of humor inspired his family, medical staff, and others who had the privilege of talking with him. During Jim's journey, he would always be positive, courageous, and thankful that the disease entered him and not his children. Jim would be taken to heaven at 10:43 p.m. on April 8, 2013, surrounded by his loved ones in his home. Again, our hearts are broken, and we know he will be missed by everyone he has befriended